Economic Society, in partnership with the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Office of Student Projects and Activities, and Halalan UPD, present to you UPFront 2023, the official Meeting the Avance and University Student Council Elections Forum of UP Diliman.
Before we officially start the program, we would like to reiterate a few reminders for our candidates to ensure a smooth Upfront 2023. First and foremost, in order to maintain the integrity of this year's event, all questions that will be asked today have been collated from the forms released and prepared by the organizing body.
In line with this, we kindly request all candidates and their supporters to practice professionalism at all times. Please refrain from any form of unbecoming commentary such as mudslinging, name-calling, heckling, blatant campaigning such as loud cheering and other similar behaviors, raising placards on stage or the venue, etc. throughout the duration of the program.
Should the organizing body observe such behavior from any candidate, they will issue a warning. Once 3 warnings are reached, the candidate will be barred from participating in the remainder of the program.
The organizing body will strictly adhere to the time limits they have set per candidate. There will be a timer flash on the screen, so please be guided accordingly. Questions will be read by the hosts once, after which the candidate's time to think will start.
We will be signaling the candidates to stop speaking as soon as the time is up. Should a candidate exceed the time limit, the organizing body reserves the right to verbally intervene and mute the candidate's microphone.
Next, here are a few general reminders for our audience. Please refrain from engaging in any unruly and disruptive behavior. The organizing body also reserves the right to intervene and issue a warning if an audience member is deemed to be in violation of this reminder. Please do not move or leave your seats while a segment is ongoing so as to not disrupt the live stream. We request that you only do so during the short breaks in between segments.
For our online audience, please refrain from posting anything malicious or inappropriate. The organizing body will be closely monitoring the comment section of the live stream.
And finally, we will be having a live Q&A towards the end of the program. So kindly prepare your questions as we proceed with the program. You may directly ask a candidate any question through a dedicated microphone that will be made available later.
Let us now all rise for the national anthem. Let us now be seated.
Magandang hapon, UP Diliman. Ako si Jayco.
At ako naman si Chaz. Together, we will be your hosts for today's event. We would like to officially welcome you to Upfront 2023.
In its 12th year returning to the face-to-face setup alongside the live stream, Upfront is back to fulfill our mission of instilling in critical thinking and informing the UPD student body. With today's theme as Magkaisa, Magsama at Magtipon, we will see the candidates present their platforms and their visions, and more importantly, share their stances as they tackle important university and national issues.
Upfront remains committed to organizing an elections forum with the UP community's concerns at the forefront. We believe in a democratic process that allows both candidates and voters to be in the same playing field. We assure you that Upfront will continue to uphold its integrity today and in the years to come.
And before we go any further, we would like to recognize the organizations that have made this event possible. Upfront 2023 is presented by the UP Economic Society in partnership with the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, the Office of Student Projects and Activities, and Halalan UPD.
Together with DZUP, UP Society of Students for Korean Popular Culture or HallyUP, UP Volunteers for Children, UP Diliman University Student Council. Special thanks to UP SOCCSKSARGEN, UP Anana Cagayan, UP Organization for Business Economics Majors, Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers, University of the Philippines Student Unit.
UP Association of Political Science Majors, University of the Philippines Junior Social Workers Association of the Philippines, UP Society of Industrial Design, UP LAWÅD.
UP Women's Basketball Club, UP Design Corps, UP School of Economics Student Council, UP Business Administration Council.
The UP School of Statistics Student Council, UP Engineering Freshie Council, UP College of Music Student Council, and the UP College of Education Student Council. Brought to you by Philippine Collegian, Kalasag, Samahang Bidang-Bida ng UP Radio Circle, and Tinig ng Plaridel. Thank you to our partners for their wholehearted support.
Everyone, I hope you are all ready and excited for today's forum to finally begin. We have a lot of fruitful discussions in store for you today, so stay tuned. Remember, we are here as a united student body with the hope of exercising our democratic rights for the future of our university. To formally launch today's program, let us call on the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs to deliver the opening remarks. Let us all welcome Professor Luis Jachil R. Sonido with a round of applause.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Did you miss this? Did you miss Upfront in person? To be honest, this is also, I'm grateful to be here and to witness, upon extension, to witness also my first live Upfront. It's good to see the student body here and online. The formats really have changed, And it's good to see UP EcoSoc, of course, in full force in person, because the past 3 years we haven't been able to see each other. That said, we keep counting the ways that we're coming back here into the fold of the campus. And again, just counting the ways that we're kind of coming back to this for the first time in quite a while. And I think that speaks a lot of how we do remain to be finding our footing, regaining our footing in some sense as we are phasing back. A lot of things have changed really across the pandemic, and we do have to acknowledge the ways that we have been changed. This past election, well, it's not yet passed. The current election, has also met its unique challenges. I think it hasn't looked like previous elections that we've had, but we remain in trust, I suppose. No, we remain to trust students' agency in these matters. Although elections are always very vibrant, messy, a little bit unruly, there are always all of these contradictions and conflicts. But in UP, we don't shy away from contradiction and conflict. We see these as valuable, actually, to improving ourselves, to engaging in healthy discussions that will move all of us forward. And so again, we continue to trust in students' agency that these remain exercises in protecting and defending our principles, in embodying the values that we have as students and as a university. And so we continue to hold to that, moving into this meeting de Avance. And so I welcome you all to Upfront. And I want to thank, of course, before I close formally, I want to thank, of course, all of the organizations, institutions, and offices that have made this possible. We are always grateful for the work of the Office for Student Projects and Activities, the UPD Halalan team, of course, UP EcoSoc, and all of the partners and organizations that help to make this successful. That said, welcome again to your first face-to-face meeting, the Avance, in so many years. Let us all work together to make it clean and safe elections for all. And again, always choose to be on the side of honor, excellence, and compassion, as we do as a university. So thank you, everybody. And thank you also in advance to all of the candidates. Again, you're stepping up to the plate in a time of great transition. And there are many challenges ahead. The fact that you chose to present yourselves on this occasion, to serve the university in the ways that you can, means a lot to us. And we're proud of everybody here. So thank you, everyone. Welcome, and let's get the meeting de Avance started.
Thank you so much for that wonderful message, Vice Chancellor Sonido. I'm sure that our candidates and the rest of the student body cannot wait for the program to begin.
Everyone, this is Upfront 2023. Let us now introduce the candidates. In alphabetical order, starting with UP Alianza and the independent candidates.
To begin, let us all welcome this year's candidates of UP Alianza ng mga mag-aaral para sa Panlipunang Katwiran at Kaunlaran, UP Alianza.
Running for the position of chairperson is Jaira Marie Del Mundo.
For Vice Chairperson, we have Therese Mangusag.
Eyeing for a spot in the USC as counselors, we have Cristel Liani Advincula, Frida Marie Humalon, Lyle Julian Kiling, Jez Relampagos, Yuel Nazarene Santos, Jamie Francine Talingdan, Luke Stephen Tongson.
Lastly, we recognize the college representatives from Alianza. Starting with the college representative hopeful, we have from CBA, Laika Rapal. For Cal, we have Danica Chavez. For Eduk, Kian Noguera. For CSSP, Dale De Los Santos. For music, Zion Malyar. And for econ, we have Camille Camba.
Thank you so much, UP Alianza. Let us all give them a warm round of applause. Last but not the least, let us all welcome our independent candidates. Aiming to become USC counselors are Katrina Maria Katbatak, Joseph Sean Eli Limbaga, Alvin James Bin Magno, Erwin Ace Medina, Mark Ian Mercene, Craig Julian Siege Navalta, Beatriz Bea Pineda, Charles Justin Shi, Mateo Wovi Jose Villanueva, thank you very much. Let us show our support for all of our candidates through a round of applause. As for the audience, we are inviting you to prepare and to send in your questions for the live Q&A later on.
We will now move on to the introductory speeches. This segment gives the candidates a platform to introduce themselves, share their platforms, and present their concrete plans of action.
Each candidate is given a maximum of 1 minute to give their speech. Candidates shall give their speeches in the following order. First, we will have UP Alianza, starting from their chairperson, their vice chairperson, then finally, their councilor candidates.
After UP Alianza, we will have the independent councilor candidates give their speeches for not more than 1 minute. All the councilors will speak. The order of speaking is determined by alphabetical order.
We would like to reiterate that we will be strictly adhering to the time limit. Should a candidate go over time, the organizing body reserves the right to verbally intervene and mute the speaker. To give their introductory speeches, let us now call on UP Alianza. Now, let us hear from Jaira Del Mundo from UP Alianza. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Gandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Ako si Jaira Del Mundo. Yung pangalan ko, galing sa tatay ko, pangalan niya Jairus. At marami na sa inyo yung nakakaalam ng kwento na to. Pero yung tatay ko, natay siya noong 2019 dahil sa politika. Mula noon, wala pa ring hustisya. At mula noon, wala nang espasyo ang naging ligtas para sa akin at para sa aking pamilya. Kaya napakalalim nung pagpapahalaga ko sa safe spaces. Pumasok ako sa Sanctuary Project para makatulong makapagbigay ng hustisya na hindi na ibigay sa akin at makatulong magbigay ng mga ligtas na espasyo na hindi ko nararamdaman sa sarili kong tahanan. Kaya ngayon, samahan niyo kami ng UP Alianza para patuloy na maibigay ang mga espasyo na ito para sa inyo. Mga espasyo na ligtas, espasyo na nakakapagbigay kapangyarihan para sa lahat. Espasyo na nagbibigay sa atin ng kapangyarihang pumili, kapangyarihang makasama,
Time's up.
kapangyarihang maging.
Thank you, Jaira. Now let us hear from Therese Mangusad of UP Alianza. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Magandang araw sa ating lahat. Sa 2 linggo na nagtaan na nangangampanya kami, we are very glad to have met different scholars ng bayan, each with unique stories to tell. This may be the last day that we campaign in front of you, but this is just a beginning of a movement. A movement where we as scholars ng bayan reclaim our university as our safe space. not only for us, but for the whole country. Together with our college representatives, the League of College Councils, the University Freshie Council, and all student and youth leaders in our UP community. Sama-sama nating bubuoy ng USC na first and foremost, kailangan natin, gusto natin, and most especially, yun deserve natin. At sa pagbuo natin University Student Council, sama-sama nating tutulungan ang ating bayan.
Thank you, Therese. We have now heard from both our candidates for the position of Vice Chairperson and Chairperson. Moving on, let us hear from the candidates from UP Alianza running to become your next USC councilors.
Again, we would like to remind everyone to please maintain decorum. To start, we have Liani Advincula. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Magandang araw sa lahat. I'm Liani Advincula, your USC counselor from UP Alianza. Having been raised by a single mother, I knew early on that I had to work twice as hard as others to live and thrive. From the ground up, my mother had to work multiple jobs to get to where we are now. And that's because she did not get the help that she needed. And as much as I want to take pride in being the leader and person that I am today because of her, I didn't want anybody else to experience what she had to endure. So I led multiple organizations like Gabayas Ko to provide scholars ng bayan from different UP campuses with services that actually cater to their needs. But more importantly, I want to make sure that no college student would have to navigate their college life alone. That is why in UP Alianza, we want to ensure that we provide services that are actually responsive
Time's up.
to the needs of every student.
Thank you, Liani. Let's now move on to Lyle Killing. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Good day everyone mula sa UP Alianza. Ako si Lyle Killing, ang inyong USC counselor. For 2 years, we have waited for this moment na makabalik na tayo dito sa campus para makita natin ang isa't isa sa ating pamantasan. Ngunit, sa ating pagbalik dito, nararamdaman natin na hindi talaga prepared ang ating university. Marami pa rin sa atin ang nakukulangan sa units at karagdagan pa sa pagbalanse ng ating academic workload ay nandun rin ang ating mga personal na. Kaya naman, bilang inyong susunod na USC, kailangan tayo magtulungan sa isa't isa. Kailangan natin suportahan ng isa't isa. Kaya naman, UP, kasama kayo sa pagbuo ng isang UP na tumutugon sa ating pangangailangan. Kasama kayo hanggang sa panahon na kaya na nating sabihin sa ating sarili na tayo ay mga scholar para sa bayan. Muli, ako si Lyle Killing mula sa UP Alianza, ang inyong USC counselor.
Time's up. Thank you, Lyle. Now we head on to Jez Relampagos. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Magandang araw sa lahat. Mula sa UP Alianza, ako si Jayez Relampagos, ang iyong USC counselor. As a former call center agent, naramdaman natin yung hirap ng pag-aaral habang nagtatrabaho dahil sa kakulangan sa access sa resources. At ang resulta, sobrang daming estudyante ang napag-iiwanan. Kailangan natin bumuo ng safe space, safe and accessible student services kung saan masisigurado natin na walang estudyanteng mapag-iiwanan. Bubuo tayo ng safe space kung saan makikater ang mga students, a safe space where we don't just thrive, where we don't just survive, we thrive. At bubuo rin tayo ng safe space na kasama ang UP sa pangarap natin na walang estudyante ang mapag-iiwanan dahil sa kailangan pa nilang magtrabaho upang matustentuhan ang kanilang pag-aaral. Mula sa UP Alianza, ako si Jayez Relampagos, ang inyong USC counselor.
Thank you, Jayez. Now let us hear from Yuel Santos. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech and your timer starts now.
Magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Ako si San Santos mula sa UP Alianza at inyong USC counselor. Akala ko nung napalayo ako sa pamilya ko, nung nag-aral ako noong high school ay magiging paghahanda ko ito para sa pagpasok sa UP. Pero hindi pala. Nothing could have ever prepared me for this. And in the short time that I've been here in the university, I've had to adjust to the university life and the hybrid learning setup. I knew na it was never gonna be easy, but it is also within the university where we find each other to be our own safe space, where we have to rely on one another. Kaya naman sa USC, nabubuin natin, kasama natin ang isa't isa. Gusto natin na lahat napapakinggan sa kanilang mga hinaing at lahat karamay sa mga proyekto na itatayo natin. Ako si San Santos, bilang inyong USC Counselor, mapa-freshie ka man o graduating na, sasamahan ka sa pagbabago.
Thank you, Yuel. Now, let us hear from Jamie Talingdan. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Ako si Jamie Talingdan, ang inyong USC Counselor mula sa UP Alyansa. Bilang isang babae, hindi na bago sa akin ang makatcall, ang masundan, ang maramdaman na hindi ako ligtas sa sarili kong pamantasan. At sa karanasan ko rin noon bilang isang campus journalist, nadama ko kung paano kinikitil ang kalayaan natin upang magpahayag, lalo-lalo na sa red tagging. At sa pangarap nating UP, hindi natin pinahihintulutan ang mga gawing tulad nito. Bilang inyong USC Counselor, kasama nyo kami sa UP Alyansa sa pagtataguyod ng kaligtasan at seguridad ng ating mga mag-aaral. UP, magkakasama tayo sa pagbuo ng isang komunidad kung saan ligtas ang ating mga kababaihan, ang ating mga mamamahayag at ang ating mga mag-aaral. Muli ako si Jamie Talingdan, ang inyong USC Counselor mula sa UP Alyansa.
Thank you, Jamie. Now we head on to Luke Tongson. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech and your timer starts now.
Magandang araw mga scholar para sa bayan. I am Luke Tongson, your incumbent College of Music Student Council chairperson and now your USC counselor. Representation has always been at the forefront of my motivations. Bilang isang musikero, bilang isang bakla, representation in binibit-bit ko nung tumakbo ako as music rep at nung nakarang taon, nung tumakbo ako bilang music chairperson. And it is representation that champions voices in the vast sea of UP Diliman. And it is representation where we come together to build safe spaces that celebrates, welcomes, and protects the vast diversity of our vibrant community. Mga kasama, kulayan natin ang ating kinabukasan. I stand here today not only as Luke, bilang isang bakla, bilang isang musikero, at mas lalo bilang inyong USC counselor. Muli, I am Luke Tongson mula sa UP Alyansa, your USC counselor.
Thank you, Luke. That is the last of our counselor candidates from UP Alyansa. Thank you so much to UP Alyansa for your speeches. Now, let us call on the independent candidates for their introductory speeches. Let us begin with Kat Batak. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Sa hinaharap nating krisis sa edukasyon, hindi may hiwalay rito ang paghihirap ng mga artista ng bayan. Kulang na nga ang ating pagre-recognition, kulang na ang ating mga materyales, kulang pa ang ating mga espasyo sa paggawa at mga oportunidad upang lumikha. Ngunit, hindi lang din naman naiiwan sa kontekstong akademiko ang pagiging artista, sapagkat hinaharap rin natin ang pagbabanta ng red tagging, paghaharang sa medyang subversibo na umaanyo bilang sining protesta. Kaya dapat kilalanin natin ang sining bilang siyang sandata tungo sa isang lipunan na progresibo. Kaya naman, lakasan natin ang ating batak na pagtindig upang iangat ang mga plataporma ng bawat scholar at ipaglaban ang isang makamasa, pambansa at siyentipikong kultura. Ako, si Katrina Maria Kat Batak, nakaraang chairperson ng College of Fine Arts Student Council, feminista, aktivista, artista ng bayan at inyong
Time's
USC
up.
Counselor.
Thank you, Kat. Now let us hear from Sean Limbaga. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Tayo ang tagapagtaguyod ng kasaysayan. Sa ilalim ng panibagong UP administration,
maging sa pagbalik sa pwesto ng bagong diktador na patunayan natin ang kolektibong pagkikilos upang maitagumpay natin ang mabuti at tapat na pamamahala. In this crucial time, we need a genuine representation that truly upholds the values and principles of good governance. We will continue the movement for democratic governance as we amplify the calls of the basic sectors as well as the UP community, our farmers, our fisher folks, our national minority, and workers. Ang inyong kasalukuyang NCPAG representative to the USC, Mindanaoan, aktivista, lingkod bayan. Ako si Sean Limbaga, ang inyong USC Counselor.
Thank you, Sean. Now, let us hear from Bin Magno. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech and your timer starts now.
Katulad ng marami sa inyo, ngayong blended learning setup, marami tayo na pagdaanan bilang scholar ng bayan. Nag-appeal for a dormitory slot, naghintay sa psych serve, pinoproblema kung ano yung kakainin sa araw-araw, at syempre, yung kakulangan ng basic student services na deserve nating lahat. Kaya naman, ngayon na pinagpapatuloy ang pag-aatake sa Estado, patuloy dapat tayong lumaban bilang scholar ng bayan upang ipagpatuloy natin ang militansya sa ating pamantasan. Kaya naman, I'll be there for you para sa pro-student housing. I'll be there for you para sa expansion of support services for all. And I'll be there for you para sa patuloy na pagtataguyod ng basic student services sa ating lahat. Kaya naman ako si Alvin James Ben Magno, kasalukuyang UP, Dormer, at kasalukuyang Rise for Education Alliance UP Diliman, ang inyong next na Basic Student Services Counselor.
Time's up. Thank you, Bin. Before we move on, we would like to remind everyone again to please maintain proper decorum. Now let's head on to Erwin Medina. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Sapagkat ang pag-aaral ay hindi nahihiwalay sa aktivismo. Sapagkat ang lipunan ay ang ating silid-aralan. Nararapat lamang na dapat tayo ay lubog sa laban ng sambayan ng Pilipino. Ako si Erwin Ace Medina, your USC Counselor. Ang tunay na sagisag ng isang scholar ng bayan ay ang pagsisilbi sa sambayanan at pag-aaral ng lipunan. Paano tayo sasama sa pagbabago kung hindi tayo nakasandig sa kampanyang masa at hindi tayo lubog sa kanilang pakikibaka? Kaya naman, sa ating pagpasok sa konseho, bitbit natin ang kampanya ng iba't ibang sektor ng lipunan, lalo na ng pambansang minorya para sa laban namin sa lupa, buhay at sariling pagpapasya. Ako si Erwin Ace Medina, isang scholar ng bayan, konsensya ng bayan mula sa kabundukan ng Cordillera, your USC Counselor for People's Struggles.
Thank you, Erwin. Now let us hear from Ian Mersene. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech and your timer starts now.
Ikaw ay may kaagapay sa inyong kalagayan. Kapit-bisig sa bawat kalagayan ng ating laban at maging na lang sa bahagi ka sa inklusibong pamantasan. Iyan ang kailangan nating ipamalas at ipalakas sa ating hanay na student with additional needs. Bakit? Dahil ito ay lantad dahil sa kakulangan ng PWD-friendly spaces sa ating pamantasan, maging sa kakulangan na hindi sapat na psychosocial services sa atin at maging ang hindi inclusive at flexible environment sa ating lahat. Iyan ang kailangan iresolba. Patuloy na pagpapalakas sa ating PWD-friendly spaces at maging sa ating inclusive learning for all at patuloy na pagbibigay diin sa mga kampanya katulad ng reinstate or funds or special education. Muli, Mark Ian Mersene, your current Archirep to the UFC. Sa kapakanan ng SWANs or students with additional needs na dapat iyan ang meron tayo, Mark Ian Mersene, your USC Counselor.
Thank you, Ian. Now let us hear from Siege Navalta. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Sa lumalalang krisis natin sa edukasyon ngayon at pinalala pa ng tuluyang paglansag ng Estado sa ating mga kapakanan at karapatan, kinakailangan natin ng lider estudyanteng titindig para sa mga ito. Nakakalungkot isipin na yung inaasahan nating institusyon na dapat promotekta, rumespeto at tumugon sa ating karapatan ay siyang nangunguna sa paglansag nito. Nandiyan ang malawakang budget cuts, hindi makatarungang tuition fee increase sa mga pribadong universidad, mandatory ROTC, at marami pang iba. Ngayon, higit kailanman, kinakailangan natin na tumindig para sa ating mga karapatan at naninindigan ako kasama ng malawak na hanay ng masa at sangkaesudyantehan. Kaisa po ninyo na manindigan at humarap sa sigwa ng bagong panahon ay manggagaling sa mga guro ng bayan sa kolehiyo ng edukasyon. Ako po si Craig Julien Siege Novalta, ang inyong susunod na straw counselor. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Siege. Now let's move on to Beep Pineda. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech and your timer starts now.
Approximately 1,000 dormitory slots, dalawang UFS outlet, hindi institutionalized na psych serve, at higit 200 million pesos na budget cut. Ito ang kasalukuyang hinaharap ng basic student services sa ating pamantasan. Araw-araw natin itong dinadanas at pinapasan bilang estudyante. Subalit, palagi na lang ito pinagsasawalang bahala. Ang tunay na malayang UP, walang hadlang sa edukasyon. Kaya naman, mga iskolar ng bayan, sa ating paglaban para sa libre, aksesible at dekalidad na edukasyon, igiit din natin ang ating karapatan sa libre, aksesible at dekalidad na basic student services. Malayo pa ang tagumpay, subalit sama-sama natin itong haharapin. Muli, ako si Beatrice B. Pineda, kasalukuyang College of Home Economics Representative ng USC, ngayon ang inyong USC Counselor.
Time's up. Thank you, Beep. Now, let us hear from Charles Shi. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Hindi nahihiwalay ang ating laban para sa kalikasan sa laban ng bayan. Ang komunidad ang naghihirap habang patuloy pa rin ang mga malalaking korporasyon at gobyerno sa pagsira sa ating kalikasan at likas na yaman. Malaki ang ating papel sa pagpapalakas ng boses laban sa pagsira sa ating kalikasan. Kaya naman, ang ating panawagan ay climate justice at system change, not climate change. Kaya naman, sige na, ipaglaban ang ating kalikasan. Sige na, ipisulong natin ang isang system change na tunay na pro-people at pro-environment. Muli, ako si Charles Shi, your former College of Science Student Council Vice Chairperson, ngayon ang inyong USC Counselor.
Thank you, Charles. Now let us hear from Wovi Villanueva. You have 1 minute to deliver your speech. Your timer starts now.
Iskolar ng bayan, araw-araw natin nakasalamuha ang ating mga komunidad. Pero kilala ba natin at alam ba natin kung anong problema na kinakaharap nila? Itong nakaraang linggo, nagkaroon ng banta ng demolition sa Poc Arboretum. Ang mga marininda natin nagtaas ng presyo ng kanilang bilihin. Ditong nakaraang buwan, 30 pesos ang pansit canton, pero ngayon 35 na. Kita natin na hindi tayo hiwalay sa ating komunidad. Bilang mga scholar ng bayan, alam natin, tayo ay tali sa kanila dahil tayo din naman nang nakikinabang sa kanilang mga serbisyo at kalakal. Ngayong eleksyon, gamitin natin ang ating kapangyarihan para irehistro ang ating boto. Ang boto na hindi nakahiwalay sa ating pamantasan. Ang boto na hindi lang nakakulong sa loob ng pamantasan. Dahil tayo, bilang mga scholar ng bayan, tayo ay lumalaban.
Iskolar!
Time's up.
Bayan ay lumalaban!
Time's up.
Bayan ay lumalaban!
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Wovi. And that ends our first segment. Thank you to all of our candidates for sharing your platforms and plans for the university.
As for the audience, we hope that you got to know the candidates a little better and remember to prepare your questions for the live Q&A.
For now, we will be heading on to a short break. Stay with us because we promise that there will be more to look forward to in the coming segments.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Upfront 2023. We already got a glimpse of our candidates' plans and platforms. Now, our next segment will aim to bring out the candidates' knowledge and individual stances on pressing national and university or college-based issues. The Fast Talk.
The candidates are given 2 placards printed back to back, one with yes and qualified yes, and the other with no and qualified no. Candidates are allowed to answer a qualified yes or a qualified no if they have certain reservations on the issue.
The candidates will be given 10 seconds to think and prepare to raise their placards to state their respective stand on the said issue. Candidates will not be allowed to reason out or further explain their answers.
When instructed by the hosts, candidates must raise their placards. Not raising a placard means that the candidates are abstaining from stating their stance on the issue.
The candidates of a party do not necessarily need to be in consensus about their stand. This means that their stands may vary from the other candidates in their party. Candidates are highly discouraged from talking among themselves during this segment.
The hosts will review and summarize the candidates' answers for each issue. Candidates are also expected to be certain before stating their respective stances and must not lower their placards or change their answers.
I hope our candidates are ready with their placards.
So without further ado, let our fast talk begin. Here's your first question. Over the past year, there have been multiple instances of harassment against members of the UP community, sightings of the armed forces near or on the campus, etc. Furthermore, the UP Diliman Police is tasked with maintaining security and protection in the 493-hectare expanse of UP Diliman. Earlier this year, it was reported that there are only 19 remaining members of the UPDP to cover the grounds of the Diliman campus. Has the USC done enough to ensure that students, faculty, staff, and activists feel safe and protected on campus? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare. Your timer starts now.
Time's up. Raise your placards. There are both mostly qualified no and qualified yeses, and only one who answered no, and that is from a candidate from UP Alianza. Okay. To proceed, here is your second question. UP Fair has always branded itself as a protest, providing a week-long opportunity to promote different advocacies. This year, there have been concerns about the night handlers involved in UP Fair, the process of bidding headed by the USC, coordination with night handlers regarding different matters, and so on. Given this, has the USC been able to address all these issues adequately and take appropriate steps to resolve them? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare. Your timer starts now.
Time's up. Raise your placards. We are enjoining candidates to please refrain from colluding with each other regarding the answers. So far, the independent candidates mostly answered with a qualified yes, and most of UP Alianza answered with either a qualified no or a no. Next, here is your third question. At the beginning of the second semester, the Office of the Chancellor released a memorandum with guidelines on academic policies, student spaces, and support services such as SOCCSKSARGEN, internet connectivity, transport preparations, and protocols for face-to-face classes. However, this period also introduced many challenges for students and faculty alike. The academic timeline and F2F guidelines underwent numerous changes. Students have reported that student spaces, as well as transport, psychosocial and housing services, have been lacking, and tremendous pressure has been placed on professors to adopt technology into their teaching modality. Has the transition to full face-to-face learning been effective and efficient? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare. Your timer starts now.
Time's up. Please raise your placards. Most candidates have answered a no, with some from the independent candidates answering a qualified no. Moving on, here is your fourth question. The IBG Cal Theater in UP Diliman was opened last February 6, 2023. The theater was named after the theater's major donor, Ignacio B. Jimenez, a UP Dramatics Club and UP Mobile Theater alumni. Jimenez is also known to have actively worked for and with the Marcos family. Furthermore, the renaming of the College of Business Administration to the Verata School of Business after the former finance minister in the Marcos martial law regime has been continuously rejected by the student body, despite claims by former UP administration officials that the endorsement is unanimous. Should UP actively deny donors of rights to recognition on campus because of their questionable or unaligned political affiliations? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare. Your timer starts now.
Time's up. Raise your placards. Nearly all or all of the candidates raised a yes, with a few raising a qualified yes. To proceed, here is the fifth question. The Reserve Officers Training Corps or ROTC program, which is part of the NSTP or National Service Training Program, is intended to provide basic military training to college students while also addressing the long-term military personnel shortage, particularly during national emergencies or major disasters. Having said that, the intention to revive the obligatory enforcement of ROTC in the country is a highly contested matter, with critics saying that its implementation may possibly lead to cases of abuse, brutality, and corruption. This, however, still remains a program heavily supported by Filipinos primarily belonging to classes A, B, and C. With that being said, has the USC taken active measures in order to prevent the ratification of mandatory ROTC and protect the student body from its abuse? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare. Your timer starts now.
Time's up. Raise your placards. Almost all of the candidates answered yes, with most of them answering a qualified yes. Now here is your sixth question. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, offers to deepen economic integration among RCEP member states, bring healthy competition to local industries, and provide opportunities for trade and investment in the Philippines. In fact, it was estimated in a study by the Philippine Institute of Development Studies that the Philippines would see a 2% increase in GDP through participation in the RCEP. This, however, has been highly contested by multiple groups due to the free trade agreements the country has agreed to and how it has affected our agriculture. With that being said, do you support the ratification of the RCEP agreement? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare. Your timer starts now.
Time's up. Raise your placards. All or nearly all of the candidates raised either a no. Oh, all of them answered a no. Okay, moving on. Here is the 7th question. During the pandemic, the academic calendar was modified, resulting in a first semester that ends in January and a second semester that is shorter than before. It continuously raises concerns about an ingenuine Christmas and year-end break, as well as students being more likely to fall behind due to a compressed semester. Do you think that the current academic calendar should again be revised? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare, and your timer starts now.
Time's up. Raise your placards. Most of the candidates have answered a qualified yes, with some answering a full yes. Now, here is your 8th question. As per the official PsychServe Facebook page, the UP Diliman Psychosocial Services was established in October 2017 as a special project under the Office of the Chancellor that aims to develop programs and provide services that address urgent and pressing mental health and psychosocial well-being needs of the UPD community. This initiative, however, currently faces limited manpower, long wait lists, a maximum of only 8 sessions per client, and etc. Has the university administration and the UFC done enough to safeguard the emotional and mental well-being and provide psychosocial services to the people in the UP community? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare. Your timer starts now.
Time's up. Raise your placards. We have sort of a mixed bag here, with some of the candidates raising a qualified no and a few of the independent candidates raising a qualified yes. To proceed, here is the 9th question. Last July 2022, President Marcos expressed clear support for the creation of a Department of Disaster Resilience following a strong earthquake that hit northern Luzon. However, recently he has issued an executive order to form the Disaster Response and Crisis Management Task Force, which, as opposed to being a department of its own, will be a body composed of offices and departments under the Office of the President. This will soon replace the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or the NDRRMC. This decision was made partly due to projected costs of creating a new department. Do you support the formation of the Disaster Response and Crisis Management Task Force, given the existence of the NDRRMC and in expense of the creation of a new department? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare. Your timer starts now.
Time's up. Raise your placards. Most of the candidates have answered a qualified no, with some of the candidates answering a full no. Finally, the following questions will speak about the eligibility of candidates running for positions in the USC. Should students with pending cases involving grievous forms of misconduct, such as academic dishonesty and sexual harassment, be allowed to run for or hold positions in student councils? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare. Your timer starts now.
Time's up. Please raise your placards. Okay, so we have a couple of candidates, around, I believe, 3, who answered a qualified yes, and the rest answering either a no or a qualified no. For the next question, should affiliations with and/or memberships in fraternities or sororities automatically disqualify hopefuls from running for positions in the USC? You have 10 seconds to think and prepare. Your timer starts now.
Time's up. Please raise your placards. Most of the candidates have answered a qualified no. Some of the independent candidates answered a full no, and one has answered a yes from UP Alianza.
And that marks the end of our Fast Talk segment. I must say, that was both fun and intriguing, right, Ches?
I agree, Jaco. I hope our audience got an overview of where each candidate stands on the pressing issues we are facing today. I look forward to having a more in-depth discussion of the issues as we progress along the program.
I have the same sentiments, Ches, but for now, we'll be heading on to a short break to give our candidates some time to regroup. Again, we would like to recognize the organizations that have made this event possible. UPFront 2023 is presented by the UP Economic Society in partnership with the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, the Office of Student Projects and Activities, and Halalan UPD.
Together with DZUP, UP Society of Students for Korean Popular Culture or HallyUP, UP Volunteers for Children, and UP Diliman University Student Council. Special thanks to UP SOCCSKSARGEN, UP ANA na Cagayan, UP Organization for Business Economic Majors, and Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers, University of the Philippines Student Unit.
UP Association of Political Science Majors, University of the Philippines Junior Social Workers Association of the Philippines, UP Society of Industrial Design, UP LAWÅD.
UP Women's Basketball Club, UP Design Corps, UP School of Economics Student Council, UP Business Administration Council.
UP School of Statistics Student Council, UP Engineering Freshie Council, UP College of Music Student Council, and the UP College of Education Student Council. Brought to you by Philippine Collegian, Kalasag, Samahang Bidang-Bida ng UPRC, and Tinig ng Plaridel. Thank you to our partners for their wholehearted support.